And welcome, David Levin here, Raising Your Game Today. This is Tuesday, so we're talking sports and sports parenting. And this week, I want to talk about some of the common myths people have around mental game training. It's a funny thing, but when you ask a coach how much of success in your sport is about the mental game, you'll typically hear anything from 50 to 90%. Everyone agrees the mental game is the critical factor in an athlete being their best. But when you then ask them, okay, so given that, how much time do you spend training the mental game? The answer is usually nothing. Like literally nothing. Doesn't something seem off about that? It's the most important factor in their success, maybe 90% of it, but they do 0% mental game training. The biggest reason for that, I believe, is that they simply don't know how to do it. No one's ever told them how to train the mental game. They just don't have any idea other than to just tell kids to, stay focused or shake it off or keep your head in the game and so on. They never say how to do any of those things. So it's not really helpful, but that's all they know to do. And this goes all the way to the top, by the way. I was talking with an NBA assistant coach, and he described their mental game training as, quote, watching film and having the maturity talk, as he put it. That's it. In the NBA, I've been watching the Drive to Survive series on Netflix about Formula One, the whole Formula One program. And again, with the drivers, the team leader will say, yeah, he needs to learn how to be more disciplined on the track or, whatever. Okay, great. How? No idea. It's up to the athlete. So that's the big thing. Coaches, parents, pretty much everyone in a position to help athletes simply doesn't know how to train the mental game. It's not their fault. It's just the reality. In addition to that, though, there are some common myths that keep people from working on the mental game, especially at the younger level, high school and college. The first myth about the mental game is that an athlete either has it or they don't. It's like there's nothing you can do about it anyway. Why waste time working on it? That's actually a very common attitude, and it just could not be further from the truth. I mean, if you couldn't train it, why would so many pro teams have mental performance coaches on staff? And so many pro athletes work with coaches individually? Why would the Seattle Seahawks, for example, in their first year after they started focusing on mental performance as a team, this is under Coach Carroll, why would they do that and then win their first ever Super Bowl in 2014? It's obvious that the mental game can be trained or the pros wouldn't be investing in it and we wouldn't hear so much about it. And by the way, mental game training is not only about boosting peak performance, though it's perfect for that. It's also about mental health, keeping kids strong and healthy mentally. The amount of stress and pressure on teenage athletes is ridiculous, and we're hearing more and more about the issues that can come up from that and the importance of taking it seriously and dealing with it. And that's more proof that the mental game can be trained and strengthened. We know that people can improve their mental health when they work on it. It's the same with improving their performance. So that's the first mental game training myth. Athletes either have it or they don't. Not worth trying to make it better. 100% false. Myth number 2 is, okay, maybe it can be done. I know the pros do it, but that's because they have the budgets to pay for PhD sports psychologists. We can't do that at our level. It's too expensive. We need experts. I wouldn't even know where to start. Again, I get it, but it's also not true. I mean, it is true that that's how it is at the elite levels, right? It is expensive. They do have experts on staff. But the thing is, it doesn't have to be that way. That's not the only way to train the mental game. When you have a system that shows athletes how their mental game works and gives them practical tools to take control of it, it is honestly shockingly simple and inexpensive to do. I mean, my book, Raise Your Inner Game, it's $19. Everything you need's in there. Now, it's not meant for athletes. I'm not recommending it. That's what the Sports Academy is for. But the point is, when you start with that sort of foundation, the idea that it has to be expensive and that you need PhD experts to do it is just, again, 100% false. You don't need experts on your staff. It's not expensive. And then myth number 3 is it takes too much time. Kids are super busy already. Parents are busy. Coaches, everyone is busy. So, okay, maybe you can train it. Maybe you don't need experts, but we don't have time. I totally get that too. Our lives get busier and busier all the time, no doubt. But, no surprise, this is also not true. 100%. I mean, I can't really say that. I mean, I don't know what your schedule looks like, of course, but I do know it takes a lot less time than you think, like almost none. Now, first, on this question of time, a little perspective shift. Let me say again what we started out with, which is success for athletes is probably between 50 to 90% mental, right? We said that? So if kids are spending so much time on other aspects of their game that they don't have time for the mental game training piece, it's possible it would make sense to tweak that and make room for training what actually makes the most difference. Okay, just saying, it's worth thinking about. But to the point, the beauty of training the mental game is that once a student has the foundation, and that just takes a few hours, working on it actually takes no extra time at all. If they're doing a drill, they work on the mental game at the same time. How's my focus right now? What thoughts am I noticing? If they're in the gym, same thing. The inner game and outer game happen at the same time. There's no separation between them. So again, once they know how to work on it, it literally takes no extra time to engage with it and to continue to develop it. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. So anyway, those are the big myths around mental game training. It can't be done, not true, and we have the results to prove that. You need expensive PhD sports psychologists, also not true with the right system, and it takes too much time. It does take a little time, of course, and it is possible that this specific moment is the right time for your child to do this work. But it takes way less than you think, and given that it's the most important thing you can do to help them break through to the next level, it's worth making time to do it. So that's what I wanted to talk about this week. What are the common myths about mental game training, and which of these might you believe? None of them are true, but any one of them can keep you from making the decision to do this powerful, important work. All right, that's it for this week. I hope that makes sense. It really is super important. Like I just touched, the myths keep us from doing the work. You know, we see the need there. We see our kids struggling. We see ourselves struggling, maybe. And we even come up across some material that sounds like it might work, like ours, for example. But then we go, I just don't know. I don't think it can work, or, whatever. It's not true. And by the way, that's one of the reasons we offer a guarantee with our program, to help people push through those. Let's soften the myths idea and just say they're questions. They're genuine, concerned questions. Will this really work for my child? Well, the guarantee takes that risk away. If it doesn't, you get your money back. So anyway, I hope that makes sense and you found it helpful. If you have teenagers in sports, check out our Mental Game Starter Kit. It's a great set of resources to help you start doing this work, to start boosting their mental game. You just go to raiseinnergame.com, scroll down to the bottom. You can learn about it and register there. It's all free. We also offer private and group coaching you can learn about at the site. If you like what you heard on today's show, please do tell your friends and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to pods. Every review helps more people find the show and get the mental boost and support and encouragement they need. If you'd like to support the show so we can keep things ad-free, please click the Buy Me a Coffee link below, and thank you for that. Also, if you're listening to the audio pod and you like video, we post all our episodes on YouTube as well on our channel there. There's a link to that in the show notes. And finally, we'll close, as always, with Steve Prefontaine, legendary long-distance runner, and his quote from the end of the Raise Your Inner Game book: "To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice your gift." That's what we're doing. We're working to be our best, help our kids be their best, both on the field and off. So keep up the good work, and we'll see you next time.